Guys, I'm so mad, bro. I just wasted so much time recording a loadout video, and I think it was so crispy. Just to find out in the first half, the audio was not bussing. Oh my freaking god, I'm so sick. So we're gonna actually fly through this one. I took a long time going through the loadout before, but now we're gonna just fly through it because obviously you see we got the new iconic Exobyte Steal up in here. Um, you don't have to use it. This is just I found that it works pretty good on a single target. So on my mic build, I don't mind throwing that move in. But let's get to it. So I'm in full DPS gear. Is what it is. I don't have any augments or none of that. Not yet. Still leveling up gear. You guys know how it goes. But arts, razor power bar battery, scraps. We got Eye of Gemini, Sinestral's Corrupted Powering, and Quizlet. Um, so about these arts, the ones that really stick out, to be honest, Eye of Gemini and Scrap. You guys know exactly what that's for. You get a nice buff from Eye of Gemini and DPS roll, and then Scraps help you recharge your supercharge as well as uh, using powers within with within Caster's Watch or Pilot's Gaze. That's what the little circle is called. Sinestro's Corrupted Powering. Consuming power has a 15% up to 60% chance of powering up the Avatar of Will for 10 to 45 seconds. Cooldown 1 minute. And what the Avatar Will is, the Avatar Will unleashes an explosion at your current target whenever you damage an enemy. Cooldown 3 seconds. So it's pretty neat. It's extra damage. You can never hate extra damage. Then Quizlet. Obviously we gotta level him up, but once he's up, he'll be helping me get more supercharge. So essentially, Razor Power Battery. Everybody knows what we use this for. Uh, you get random healing ticks, and then a big boy damage ticks. Yeah, that's absolutely disgusting. Okay, now we're gonna get into the traits. I'm sorry, guys. I'm flying through here. I spent so much time recording this. Okay, so obviously movement tree. I like to get all the innates, even if I'm DPS, and I don't care. I mean, granted, I just started learning the art of DPS, so but yeah, I always get all the innates. Um, Obviously your weapon. Now, I just you don't need to spec all your weapon combos because, like I said, you're mostly gonna be using your power with this build. I just I don't know. I just don't feel right not having, at least one weapon maxed out where you have all their moves and combos and whatnot. So I just feel like regardless, you just gotta spec your weapon out. What if you don't got no power and you gotta do some weapon combos. Um, Iconic, we got Heat Vision, Word of Power, Exobyte Steal, and then stats respect super powered, maxed out critical attack chance, maxed out critical attack damage, and now we're just loading up that might and power. You know, that's a spec loadout. Tray one I like to use for my AOE. Tray two I like to use for my um single target. First tray, very simple loadout. Wintry Tempest, Avalanche, Frost Blast, Arctic Gust, Reflection, and then you have your Ice Elemental. So before we get into the trade two, let me just break it down. You're always going to start off with your Wintry Tempest, get that PI going. Then I like to hit them with Avalanche, a little CC, it knocks your enemies in the air and knocks them down, causing a lot of, no, I won't say a lot of damage, decent amount of damage. And as they're recovering, getting back up, I like to load up Frost Blast. So as soon as they get back up, boom, get hit with some shit and knocked down again. All right. So then we have Arctic Gust to kind of it close the distance and reset up my attacks. It's very easy. rinse and repeat. And another thing I like to do, Wintry Tempest has the same cooldown as Reflection, right? So I like to clip these two together. So I always try to be shielded up while I'm letting out the the Hell Frost. That's what I'm called, the Hell Frost. um, but then yeah, we have Ice Elemental on the back end. Um, before we get into single target, because I'll just get into the Ice Elemental because it's essentially single target is going to be the same essentially. So Ice Elemental, whether we do get into it, I like to go Resonating Gale, Ice Boulder Strike, Snowball, Snowball, Snowball. Back in the Resonating Gale, Ice Boulder Strike, Snowball, Snowball, Snowball. But you do want to clip your Snow Devil with your shield every now and then just to have that extra dot, right? So if we go single target, we got Wintry Tempest into Glacier Flash, into Heat Vision, into Frost Snipe. You're usually so when I'm doing single target, I'm using Frost Snipe whenever because Frost Snipe when it crits, it crits. So I'll go Wintry Tempest, Glacier Flash, Frost Snipe, Heat Vision, Frost Snipe. Back in the Glacier Flash, Frost Snipe, Heat Vision, Frost Snipe. And then we have our Exobyte Steal and our Word of Power in there, just in case we have enough supercharges to get that off. Um, yeah. So now let's talk about single target. This is where it gets kind of special. We go Resonating Gale, Glacier Flash, Heat Vision, Frost Snipe, and then we have Exobyte Steal. So essentially, it's the same exact single target as the Ice Elemental, except Witchery Tempest and Resonating Gale is in a different spot. Um, so Word of Power, we like Word. I know a lot of people would rather Neo Venom Boost, but just for my madness, for my madness, it all makes sense because we're using Exobyte Steal. So Word of Power, what this does, it call forth lightning to damage and knock down nearby enemies. The summoned lightning heals you and restores power over time to you and up to 7 group members. Electrifies enemies, making them vulnerable to electric effects. Now that right there, that's the most important thing, right? We're ice DPS, but you see we got heat vision and we have Word of Power. We have a burning PI and electric PI to go along with our frostbite PI, and it all ties into Exobyte Steal. Now, fires a damaging beam at the target. Gives up to 3 enhancements based on the power interaction on the target. Duplicates enhancements, increase the enhancements effects. Bro, what the fuck type of paragraph is that? They damn near repeated themselves so many times in that one paragraph. But that's besides the point. Um, so as you see, dazed, frostbitten, poisoned, or polarized gives you Exobyte Spike. Exobyte Spike, what that is. For the duration, attack sparks an Exobyte Spike on the target, further damaging them. So essentially, as you after you hit them with Exobyte Steal and you continue attacking, it'll cause further might ticks from Exobyte Spike, right? Um, the next one is Exobyte Explosion. So bad karma, burning, plasma burn, purified, or graviton charge. PI will get Exobyte Explosion. Um, and what that is, for the duration, the attack spark an Exobyte Explosion on the target that damages all enemies within its radius. So essentially, it's Exobyte Spike, but a more AOE version of it. So you guys see where I'm going with this. You could stack those, and then with the electrify, terrify, crush, or destabilize PI gets Exobyte Surge, which is essentially just a buff. Um, you see, you got a might buff, precision buff, vitalization buff, restoration buff, dominance buff, defense buff. God damn, just yeah, the buff is actually crazy. So essentially, since I'm a DPS, the max might buff is 36%. Jeez. So now imagine that. right? That 36% extra might buff with the increased critical attack damage and increased crit chance from Word of Power. Sheesh. Yeah, you could do some damage. You guys see what I'm talking about here. Not to mention if you have a full supercharge and you do all of these two plus Ice Elemental, geez Louise. Or say you go into Ice Elemental first, right? Because Ice Elemental, I have Word of Power in there, right? So we go into Ice Elemental, bang, pop Word of Power, bang, then hit Exobyte Steal. Imagine the damage that we're doing. Holy smokes. Alright, enough yapping. We're gonna get into the rotation. Here we go. So this is gonna be the AOE one first. So like I said, Wintry Tempest, we're gonna clip it with our shield, and then we're gonna go to Avalanche, into Frost Blast, into Arctic Gust. Here we go. Alright, you guys, if you guys are watching the parses, like, basically, I'm seeing an average of around 3.2 mil, right? 3.2 mil every 10 seconds, that's not too bad. Um, for me at least, that's not too bad. We go into the Ice Elemental to up the damage. Yeah, so now I'm gonna showcase the single target loadout. Here we are. So we're going Resonating Gale into Glacier Flash, Frost Snipe into Heat Vision, Frost Snipe, and then rinse and repeat. When my Word of Power is loaded, I'm gonna pop the Exobyte Steal, but I'll probably show you guys that separately after I'll show you guys the rotation. So here we are. right. If we look at the parsers, we see around 1.7, 1.5, 1.8, 1.9, 1.5, and then it jumps up to 2.8, 2.3, 2.8, then goes back down to 1.7, 1.5. So when we're all buffed up, we're doing about a million extra damage. So that's actually crazy. And I will say this: 10-second parses do not do justice when you're doing like a channel and build. Like probably have to look at a 30-second parse to be honest. But yeah, that's essentially that's the
Friendly
loadout.
duels are
Oh my
encouraged.
gosh, shut your ass up. But yeah, essentially that's the loadout, guys. It's extremely powerful. I will be. I'm trying to remember what run I ran because I was raiding last night. I got a lot of content from this particular build, so I will be showcasing a few videos on this might build. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Help me out, guys. Come on, show some love and support. I'm out.